Hello, a big welcome to this channel. My name is Nyamiche Boatin. I'm glad to have you here on this channel. And Manchester City are back to losing ways, and after having a very difficult November and a very difficult December. In the last 10 games from Manchester City, they've had 7 losses, and then they've drawn 2 and they've won only 1, with the only win coming against Nottingham Forest at the Etihad Stadium, and they've lost 4-0 against Tottenham Hotspur, lost against Brighton, losses against Juventus, loss against Bournemouth, and I think that Manchester City are really in a crisis. And the first thing I'll tell you is that if there's anybody to blame in this time, I think it is Guardiola. And it is also noteworthy to tell you that Guardiola is the same guy who can fix this mess. That's why nobody's going to talk about sacking Guardiola, because Guardiola is the man that has done it before. Guardiola is the man that can do it. Guardiola is the man that can fix it. But why am I saying Guardiola is supposed to be blamed for this? Because you see, Guardiola knew that his squad was a 10 squad. He doesn't have a lot of players to back up his squad. He doesn't have a backup DM for Rodri. And we know Rodri is the best player in the world now, and Rodri has been the main man for Guardiola's side in the last 4 years or 3 years now. And you know one thing about Rodri, he's not only a good passer, he's also very able to control the games, and he's also very able to determine what happens when Manchester City are under counter attack. And now Manchester City do not have somebody who can win the ball in the middle of the park, and Manchester City do not have a player who can also create chances and then score goals for Manchester City. That's what they are losing. And then they are also losing somebody who's also very good with interceptions and a mentality monster. And once Manchester City is losing such a guy in the middle of the park, it was very obvious that they were going to lose games coming. And one of the biggest reasons why Manchester City are losing games is because they do not have the world best player now, that is in Rodri. That is understandable. I'm blaming Guardiola because you made a lot of money from the treble wins and a lot of the trophies that you've won in the past. Manchester City has a lot of money too. So I don't know why you're not buying players. You went to buy Calvin Phillips as a DM, and Calvin Phillips clearly did not work, and you have loaned him out to Ipswich. You have Maximo Perroni also as your third defensive midfielder, and you have also loaned him out. And so the only DM that you took to this season was Rodri. We know that Kovacic is not a DM. Kovacic is a number 8, or we call an inside 8. For those who followed Kovacic at his days from Inter and then Real Madrid, you realize that he's not a DM. When Rodri went to the Euros, he went back injured, and the season started with Kovacic playing as a number 6, and he started very well. He was doing well, but you can clearly see that it is not his role. And for all these reasons, Guardiola had enough money to buy players. Why didn't Guardiola replace Rodri in Premier League? Why didn't Guardiola replace players like Kyle Walker, who were clearly aging? Ederson wanted to leave the club, but you insisted on having Ederson to stay. But look at how Ederson is making sure that you don't do anything. And look at how Ederson flopped in the game against Juventus. He was at fault for the first goal, and he couldn't do anything about the second goal. And that is why Pep has been benching Ederson in recent games. Ederson is clearly not performing. And anytime Manchester City concede a counter-attack, we know that it is going to probably be a goal. And that is what is happening to Manchester City now. And Pep is at fault. You sold Alvarez for £75 million, and you did not buy a replacement for Alvarez. Look at how Haaland is playing everything in this game, and when Haaland gets injured, how does Manchester City score goals? Because it's just a mess. And I think about 90% of the goals that Manchester City has scored come from Erling Haaland. So if Erling Haaland gets injured right now, who is going to be the number 9 for Manchester City? You get it? And you clearly have money, and you could have spent a lot of money to fix this problem, and you did not fix it. And clearly the players are also injured. Currently, Manchester City have about 8 players injured now. Rodri, Oscar Bob, Phil Foden is injured, Nathan Ake, Akanji. Like, these are guys who are always going to start the game for Manchester City, but they are injured, and you don't have them now, and you have money. That's my point. You have money. Why didn't you sign players to play to come and fit into the system for Manchester City? And now you also have the academy players, and you're not fielding them. So who are we supposed to blame them? You have academy, you're not fielding them, and your players are also not giving you any good results. You get it? And now there are people in the media asking for Guardiola's sacking. Look, no club in this world is capable of sacking Pep Guardiola, especially looking at his CV and looking at what he's been able to achieve for himself. Look, Manchester City is Manchester City because of Guardiola. Look, Manchester City had like 2 or 3 Premier Leagues before Guardiola joined, and now they have like 9 or 10. Only Guardiola has like 6. You get it? So nobody in the club can even dare think about sacking him. But it begs the question: when will Guardiola fix the problem? Because after 10 matches, Guardiola has 7 losses, 2 draws, and just 1 win. You get it? Just 1 win. And the thing about Guardiola too is he's the only coach in the world that has the rare position to decide when to leave, and nobody's going to sack him. And even when things were going bad, the club decided to give him a 2-year contract. You get it? So as for sacking, it's not going to happen. So we want Guardiola to fix the problem, and the problem too is that he doesn't have players to play. He doesn't have a squad. He always says in press conferences that the team played really good, the team were good today, but but for Manchester City fans, like, they want results. Manchester City fans want results, and you're not giving them results. That's the point. The injury problem is a very big problem for Manchester City now, and that is on Guardiola, because Guardiola knew that he doesn't have a good squad, and he knew the number of games they're going to be playing, and he decided not to buy players. So who's supposed to blame? Guardiola, nobody else. And now I think I'm told that he's asking for Bruno Guimaraes like £100 million, get him and fix the midfield problem. I think that they will definitely bounce back. I think that Manchester City are in contention for the Premier League, but it all depends on what they do in the winter transfer window. They have to buy players. They have to be the Manchester City that spends pounds in the transfer market, replace Kyle Walker, get a stronger DM, get another attacking midfielder, get somebody to back up for Erling Haaland, and then the team will probably be set again to come back to winning goods. And I know that by January, Akanji will be back, Nathan Ake will be back, Kovacic will be back, and then we'll probably have another DM, and then the team will probably start gelling. And one thing I also don't understand is you have a very young Matheus Nunes who's very strong on the ball. He's able to win doors. He's also very tall. Just pair him with probably Gundogan in the middle of the pack. You can pair him. You're now playing Nunes on the wings and expecting him to create chances when he can just do a very good job also as a right back. Maybe probably bench Kyle Walker and then play Matheus Nunes as a right back, and let's see what Matheus Nunes also can give to you. Do you understand? I think that going into the winter transfer window, Pep Guardiola is going to buy a lot of midfielders and then probably get an attacker to help the team. The team is really struggling. Enrico Lewis is not really up for this moment. I think he's also lost form because he's played a lot of minutes, played as left back, played as right back, played as a center defensive midfielder, played as a number 8. For a young boy, Pep is giving this guy a lot of burdens. So I think that just bench the guy and then buy players who can play, buy Bruno Guimaraes, buy players who are very good on the ball, who can help you win balls in the middle of the park, and you can compete with Arsenal and Liverpool for the Premier League trophy. There are people also talking about how Kyle Walker has been very bad for Manchester City. I think that when you sit down, you just blame Pep, because you see, Kyle Walker said he wanted to leave the club, and you said no, you want him to stay. And look at him now. Kyle Walker is like, every team that faces Manchester City wants to target Kyle Walker, and anytime they target Kyle Walker, they get something. Look at how Manchester City considered the second goal against Crystal Palace just because Kyle Walker couldn't jump, and now he's the club captain. I'm told that the club will want to sell him for £5 million sterling and get rid of him and probably sign Jeremy Frimpong or something. City need to spend more money in the transfer window, and I don't think the season is over. Spend more players, sign more players, and then I think that City season will be back again. Because you see, if you've watched the game that they've lost, these are games that they've dominated. Against Sporting, they were the best club. Against Tottenham, they were the best team. Against I think the only game that they were supposed to lose was the game against probably Liverpool and then Bournemouth. But apart from that, they've been the best side in all these games. Just give Pep his place, and I think that they will go on to win a lot of players. And look at how Bernardo is also struggling. Bernardo is struggling because he plays almost every game. He barely gets rest. He plays for every 3 minutes, for every 3 days. You get to see Bernardo Silva in the squad. So the thing is that half of the team has been injured, and Guardiola also needs to take the blame for these injuries. So just 2 years ago, Manchester City were beating Real Madrid 4-0, and now they can't even get a 1-0 win against a club like Juve or even Crystal Palace. They are really struggling. And then you ask yourself, what really happened? It's just one thing. Pep Guardiola decided not to buy players. Pep Guardiola decided not to buy young players to come and help the aging players. At this point, just give a player like Nico Riley a chance to play, Jacob Bright a chance to play. Give them a chance to play, and then we get to see what they can also offer. Only bright spot in this game against Juventus was Kevin De Bruyne. You can see that he wants to create chances, but anytime he wants to create chances, there are a lot of people around Erling Haaland. Haaland isn't able to also score goals when he gets the chances, and Manchester City are in a mess. I think that they are not really in a mess. They get a good defensive midfielder, and then they'll be back in the Premier League, and they should just try and grind some results for the next 2 games in the UCL, and they'll see it through to the next stage of the competition. It's a really bad time for Manchester City and Guardiola, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Pep Guardiola will do to change these things and bad times at Manchester City. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Should Pep Guardiola be sacked, or should Manchester City bear with him and stay with him during this hard time? He signed a 2-year contract, and I think he's going to stay. Thank you for watching this video. Bye for now.